It's time for the last race of the regular season for the Area Truck Series from Talladega Superspeedway. 11 rounds are in the books, and this is the final one to qualify yourself in to the 12-driver field that will make up the playoffs for the rest of the spring. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna. Finian, tonight we've got 80 laps of trucking here at Talladega, and there's drivers that are locked in and those that have to stay in before the end of the 80 laps tonight.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic to watch the guys on the bubble trying to just secure their spots in the playoffs, and the guys who are on the outside looking in. And looking at the playoff graphic right now, there are many drivers that need to pretty much win this race in order to get themselves in.
Yeah, David Weishart, 3 wins on the season so far. Travis Beckner and James Scioli have 2 apiece. Then Hartz, Hurley, and Bell, the next 3 drivers down. Hurley with that out-of-nowhere win a couple of weeks ago. He's got himself locked in for now. Brad Slaughter, Cameron Hearn, Garrett Grant, Justin Anasogak, Ryan Swan, and Eric Wineland are all in, but they are not currently locked. They have to win to solidify their in. And then drivers on 13th on down, they've got some work to do tonight, Finian. They could be in at the end of the night.
Yeah, guys like Colin Farrell, Colin's been really struggling the last few weeks, just really poor luck, and just things not going his way. Kept them outside of the points at the moment. He's got to have hope for a good night. AJ Roderick, Shane Abbey, and then everyone else you can see there with the MW and the asterisks. They must win in order to get into the playoffs, and that's a big list. Tyler Hallman, Paul Irvin, Jordan Martin, Bobby Tidge, and Jeffrey Wilson all have to win this race in order to get themselves into the playoffs.
Practice underway right now. The left-hand side of this. Well, there's one truck upside down.
Wow.
Maybe a bit of a preview of what we got going on tonight.
Fambro, actually.
Yeah, that was Colin Fambro. Let's have a look at that replay here in practice, but we'll get back on the ticker here in a moment. Here's maybe a bit of a preview of what we can expect to see tonight. Just up and over, rolling once, and back across the racetrack. But what I meant to show is the ticker here. On the left-hand side, you'll see the drivers that are lit up in blue. The blue drivers, they're locked in. They're good to go to the next round and participate in the playoffs. The drivers in yellow, they are currently in the top 12, Finian, but not locked in. All the drivers left in white are just outside or not even close, and they'll have to win to get in.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's what's going to make this so interesting to watch these guys. Not necessarily the race for the win itself, but really just watching the guys. There's so many guys to keep track of. How are they doing tonight? Anything going wrong? Are they involved in any big wrecks? Because that can affect their playoff chances. If they can't repair their car, or if they've got terminal damage, have to sit this one out. And obviously, by the end of the night, we'll give you the full picture going on to the playoffs for this series going forward.
Yeah, so of course our next couple of rounds as we look at the schedule in the upcoming weeks here. So we got Talladega tonight, but we're going to be heading to IRP next week, not a road course like the rest of the series, the Launch Box and the Cup Series. Then Las Vegas, Auto Club, Richmond, and Nashville wrap up our seasons. That's how fast things will go at the tail end of the year here. But tonight, this is an all-important one, Finian. We talk about Talladega being kind of chaotic in some ways. Last night, we only had a couple retirements, and then the last lap, everything broke loose. We had trucks sideways up, airborne, 3 wide of the checkers, and 1 car turned around sideways that finished inside the top 5. So we always expect that coming to Talladega, but last night we really got the peak of it in overtime.
Yeah, curious to see if we are going to see overtime action here. I think it really is going to depend on how this race goes. Last night went fairly clean and green for the first half of the race, and we started to get some more yellows towards the end. Curious to see how tonight's going to play out. Obviously, a completely different draft package with the trucks. A little bit more conventional to what we're used to seeing with these pack races. Typically 2 lines of traffic, nose to tail. Some guys are able to make a move, pull out, make a charge forward. So I'm curious to see, if that's going to make things a little bit cleaner or maybe a little bit worse for these guys, considering some guys might get desperate, not having many places to go.
So we talked about those that are locked in. Let's go back and talk about the drivers that are just outside looking for a way in. Colin Fambro, 5 points out right now. He needs a big night or just some bad luck for some other drivers to get up in that GoPro Chevrolet and really have a shot at running for a championship. So I can expect that Colin Fambro will be pretty aggressive, and there's some others on this list, AJ Roderick, Shane Abbey, that can be more aggressive, but Tyler Hallman, Irvin, Martin Tinch, Wilson, and so on, they have to go out and win tonight. Otherwise, they will not get in.
In a way, that's kind of nice for them to just kind of have to, not have to worry about the fact that, you have to play the mental game of, do I want to play a little bit safer, get some solid points, and just kind of hope everything else falls into line, or just go out there and try to win outright. There's that risk for some of the guys like Colin Farrell or Shane Abbey. But the guys who must win, Obviously, if they don't win, they're out. But in a way, that's a little bit ease of mind because they can just go out there, do whatever they need to do, put it all on the line because they know if they have to win to have any progress.
There's Bobby Tinch, another one of those must-win drivers in that number 66. And Cameron Hearn, you'll note that he is yellow on the ticker, so he has been in position to win a whole bunch of times this season. Hasn't gotten it done, hasn't locked himself in, but he has pointed his way at least into the mix. So he can't afford to have a crash, but he can be a little bit aggressive knowing that he's got a couple points until that cut line.
This is kind of surprising still that he doesn't have a win in this series. Trying to look actually when his last win came. And that was in August 2022. That was season 2. And in season 2, he had 4 wins. This season, none. That's kind of giving an idea of how much of a struggle it's been for him this season.
Let's talk draft strategy. Last night at the Next Gens, we had some pretty big runs. How does this truck differ maybe than the Cup cars in terms of how it drafts?
Oh, we're definitely not going to see as big of the runs in the next gen car. Really, the big thing has to do with the taper spacer. Obviously, we still call these restrictor plate tracks because I think at this point everyone's just so used to it. And these cars still have a restrictor plate on them, the Lodge Box Series cars and the trucks. But the taper spacer with the next gen car completely changed the way they kind of draft out, function in a pack. So you get these massive runs with the next gen car, almost to the point where if you hit someone, you can very much well knock them out of the way. With the trucks, it's not as violent.
Picking your partners. Drivers practicing right now. Maybe not a bad strategy just to figure out who they're going to work with tonight. If they're not going to be teammates, they might be cars or trucks of a similar manufacturer or make. So keep that in mind as well. Here's a look at the manufacturers on the way down. If you're a Ford, you're Eric Wineland. That's basically it.
Yeah, I was going to say. Wineland's not, so we talk about manufacturer alliances, it's not going to be a Ford out there at the moment. Eric Wineland, actually, Jeff No in the 55 is his fellow friend in a Ford F-150, but other than that, those two are definitely going to need to make some more friends out there.
Big field tonight, too. 35 trucks that we've got, and they're going to get going to qualifying here in just a couple of minutes. And when they qualify, Finian, talked about last night, it being not in a very important place to be. That proved to be true. Pole position doesn't really matter in this 80-lap race, but it will keep you ahead of the game. You won't have to pass everybody and put yourself maybe in the middle of the pack where crashes are more likely. But again, I just don't think there's going to be a huge emphasis on qualifying particularly well. It's just not something that is going to matter all that much in the grand scheme of things tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And practice coming to a close here. Qualifying about to begin very shortly. We'll see who is going to be on pole, though. And I'm curious, really the big thing with this is going to be curious to see who is actually going to make a solid qualifying attempt. We actually did see a decent amount of the guys last night in the Cup Series make a qualifying attempt. We'll see if it's a similar story here. What guys are going to try to put a qualifying lap down, what guys are going to choose to just sit it out, and then just kind of group up behind the field and just kind of run in the back all race.
Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise at areairacing.shop. That is twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Cars rolling on here in qualifying. It is iRacing 24 week at the sister track to Talladega. Finny, you running the 24?
I am not running the 24. I thought about it, but unfortunately with my work schedule, because I work as an EMT on the weekend, so I work on Saturday. And when I come home on Saturday, I'm exhausted, so I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to actually race going to Sunday. So I decided I'll take this year off. Are you?
Yeah, well, no, I'm not running it, mostly because my rig is coming together piece by piece. So I've got my CSLDD and my McLaren GT3 wheel all ready to rip, but nothing to mount it to just yet. That rig will get here tomorrow, Track Racer TR80. And then got my monitors that I'll be getting a little bit later this week. And then I'll be putting it all together. So not quite ready for it just yet. And we've got Grid Life Game Night this weekend on Saturday. If you're local to Chicago, check out Grid Life Game Night. We'll be doing some fun simulator-related things, just not iRacing 24 related.
Yeah, I was hoping to do the Roar last week, but they had stuff on Friday and Saturday, and both days I was busy. And I was expecting there would be a Friday night session, but no, they didn't have one. It was after like Friday noon. You're out of luck. There were no more sessions for the Roar. I was like, oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a bummer, but I'm excited because you separate yourself from driving when you do all this broadcasting like we do, and I don't really get a lot of opportunity to drive. Mostly I find an excuse for it because my G29 that I paid real money for, new, that just never really worked right. A couple months after I got it, the pedals started failing on me, and it just isn't a good experience. And I'm in a rolling chair, and it isn't right. So it's about time.
Hey, I'm still on a rolling chair. Listen, I'm on a gaming chair. I actually need to what I need to do is get a mat underneath just to keep some friction, because there are some times when I have to, like, with the load cell pedal, I have to put some pressure on it, and I start sliding back a little bit. So that I do need to fix. I would love to get a chair at some point in the future down the line. At the moment, not really viable to get a permanent racing setup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding the love for iRacing again. Just you watch everyone have all their fun, and it just kind of makes it sour. Everyone else is enjoying it, and you're just sitting back watching everybody have fun. Jeff Ryan to the top of the board here in qualifying again. Not really a lot to cover here. It's pretty straightforward. 2 laps. Justin Anasogak in the 88. Another driver that we should keep our eyes on tonight. Seen him qualify very well, but we haven't really seen him up in the mix at the tail end of races as much as he probably would like.
Ripping the top lane. We've seen a lot of these guys do that in qualifying here. Ripping the top lane in the first lap, then using all that momentum build up to execute on lap number 2. Currently Jeff Ryan 37 up at the top, and see if he can stick there.
Here comes Anasogak across the line. Lap number 1 in the books of 56.941. 938 rather corrected, and he's going to go around for lap number 2 right on the bottom of the racetrack. Ryan Hart's on track on the back straightaway, and one of our drivers that's locked in the Rick's Hot Sauce truck, all he is doing is just collecting another virtual paycheck tonight. He's already in and can focus on IRP.
Yeah, just here so he doesn't get fired, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Out of turn 4 now, and VMAX here in the truck, a lot less than the Cup car. 172 here is what we're seeing on Ryan Hart's, and across the line for lap number 1, and it's going to be a 55.907, which will put him at the top for now.
All lap done by Hartz. He's going for a second attempt. Theoretically should be a little faster.
Anasogak picked up some on lap number 2, goes to 7th quick. Colin Fambro rolling his way around the course. He's coming out of turn number 2 right now. Check that, turn 4.
Yeah, for Colin Fambro, it's been a miserable last 3 weeks. 25th, 17th, 29th. So he's going to be hoping for some good luck. This is really right about a time where he could use some good luck. Arguably not the best track to have some good luck. Or hope for some good luck, I should say. A lot of things can't go wrong here.
A lot of things can go wrong, and for those, there's a lot of drivers for things that can go right. Think about Jake Nichols last night, Fitting. Where was he all night leading laps? He was not. And out of nowhere, he almost stole another one from everybody, and there was just a lot of door banging coming to the checkers. At the end of it all, it was Ricky Springer that stole his second victory of the season. So just drivers can really creep up in the middle of nowhere. Here's Jeff Noah, by the way, in the number 55 Ford, the only other Ford in the field, up inside the top 5. And he and Eric Wineland may want to work together with those Ford noses.
Yeah, Wineland again is going to need something good to happen to him as well. He is in the top 12, but barely, just 5 points over Colin Fambro, AJ Roderick, Shane Abbey. So if either of those guys have a good night right on the bubble, or if one of the other guys the outside get a win, he's going to get shuffled out of the equation.
Eric Wineland ripping the top lane now in the 21. Note the yellow number here on the timing and scoring, and on the lower third. That means that Eric is currently in the top 12 in a transfer spot into the playoffs, but is not locked in, does not have a win to his name yet. That could all change here tonight at Talladega.
Paul Fowler finished his qualifying effort down at 18 for now. Don't think that's going to hold, so he's probably going to drop a few more spots as well.
Wineland really up on the high side here. And then all this is doing is gather momentum for lap number 2. You see him now go to the bottom, run down the hill. Lap 1 will be pretty off pace, but lap 2 is where the speed is going to count for the 21.
Beaver running up high in the tri-oval and coming down in the tri-oval. Start the lap that counts.
Time of the board, a 57.785 for reference. That is a full second slower than anybody else. But this is where lap 2, he's going to get all that back in green. Matthew Bell, another driver that we have to keep our eyes on tonight, already has a win. He's already locked, but could be hungry enough to grab another one here before the time is out.
Yeah, Matthew Bell had some really good luck last night. Just got himself into the points. Had a damaged car, was damaged earlier in a wreck. Managed to pass 10 cars due to a last lap wreck, and drove his way up through points to the last and final playoff spot in 12th place as the race ended. So he got really lucky. We'll see if he can. Doesn't need the luck here tonight, as he has the win that locks himself in.
Yeah, I hope for his sake that he doesn't have to deal with that again. That was enough stress for an entire season in a couple different championships, let alone this one tonight. So he's got himself locked in. Wineland across the line at a 56.002. That's going to be good enough for P5 for the number 21. Paul Irvin on the outside looking in the championship context. He will go up to 8th place. And there's a whole bunch of other drivers that have not yet done any qualifying laps. Jacob Bell, Weaver, Cutrer, Weishart, Hurley, Tinch, Grant, and Bell. A number of those are drivers that are locked in. Here's Lath Hicks in the 53. And this is the tail end of his second lap, so he should have a pretty big pickup here.
See where the 53 can jump up 2 across the line for him. And I'll put him up in P20.
Looks like that'll be all in terms of our qualifying. Look at all the blue at the bottom of the ticker, those that did not make a qualifying effort. So they're all going to start from the rear and just pick their way through and do what Jake Nichols did last night, is just stay out of trouble and have a shot to grab one away from someone who's desperate at the tail end of this race tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best play, right? I mean, there's not really much point sitting up there. You don't need the bonus points for leading a lap or for the most lap, right? You're just racing out there, just get that final win before the playoffs start, extra bonus points to your name. And like we mentioned, 7 drivers locked in, another 5 in the playoffs, but not locked in yet. They still got to just hope for a decent night. And then everyone else chasing them outside the top 12, within the top 20. All those guys hungry, a lot of them hungry for a win in order to begin their playoff hopes, or start their playoff hopes next week. And actually, where are we headed to next week?
IRP, I believe, is next on our calendar. So that's going to be where we kick off the playoffs in Las Vegas, Auto Club, Richmond, and Nashville. The last 4 rounds of the playoffs are the same for all 3 of the series, the Cup Series, the Truck Series, and the Lodge Box Series. The only difference, next week, Cup and Xfinity are running the redacted road course in a place that we call Redacted-Annapolis. And so that's where we're headed on January 23rd and January 26th. January 24th, we're heading to Redacted-Annapolis Raceway Park. So, if anyone was wondering. So we got.
Will not be funny.
Yeah. It's unfortunately pretty sad that we have to.
It is very sad.
But it is what it is. Before we kick off our race this evening, I'd like to kick off our race like we kick off our mornings with Roasted Gems Coffee. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. Use discount code AREAIRACING for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. So just a moment until we kick off this race tonight. 80 laps is on tap for tonight, Finney and I'm going to just make a guess now that we will probably have more than 80 laps on the ticker by the end of the night in an overtime situation. Truck Series racing, though, it always ends up being a little bit different than the Cup Series races. I always find that the Truck Series run longer, greener, and that could mean that we've got a big field right at the end of the race like we did last night.
Yeah, it really depends, because the next gen was absolutely chaotic with the way the lines were forming, disappearing, reforming again. So I think with the trucks, it'll be a little bit more predictable for these drivers in a way that can help. It could also let them be a little bit more aggressive because they know what to expect. We really have to see. I expect these guys to run pretty green for a while. I think the first half of this race will be pretty calm and orderly. I think the second half of the race, we're going to start to see things get a lot more chaotic if we do get a caution. But I think really the big thing will be also just making it through the first round of green flag pit stops. After that, I think we might be in for more of a greener race.
Well, let's have a look at our weather information for tonight's event. Not going to be a big deal in terms of rain, just a little bit of clouds over the racetrack. Track temp ain't going to matter, 79 degrees Fahrenheit, air temp 77 degrees. Packed virtual grandstands here tonight. And a big burnout mark there in pit stall 3.
Yeah,
so someone's already celebrated.
I thought that was a graphical error for a second. I was like, oh no, someone is just doing burnouts there.
Celebrating here at Talladega. I
They're
like
putting down the rubber so that way they can get a better traction on their pit exit, I guess.
I see a great looking road course right here in the middle that we could go racing on too, but
Did you ever play any of the NASCAR video games?
I did. Yeah, so if everyone remembers, this is a real throwback. All the old console NASCAR games, it was at NASCAR 09, 08, 07 that had these. They had fantasy tracks, and a couple of them. They had the Texas road course. They had the Talladega road course. They
Was
also
it the
had,
actual Texas road course? Or was it like a made-up one?
I think it was a made-up one. And then maybe it was real. I'd have to look at it again. I think it ran backwards.
Oh.
So I think that one of them ran backwards, and then there was also a couple other ones. If everyone remembers Old Spice Speedway,
yes,
it was that was a road course too, right? The one I'm thinking of, and it had a bridge.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there was the super short track.
I think it was Dodge Stadium.
That might have been an 2003 particular one. What else? There was one that was like this big long weaving course in the American West. That was like, it had all like, like the red rocks and sand and everything. I can't remember what that one was called. Someone will bring it up. But man, those NASCAR fantasy tracks, my buddy Joel and I we just race those all day long. A lot of fun.
Back when NASCAR games were actually good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's have a look at our starting lineup here. Kicking things off on row number 1, it's gonna be Ryan Hartz in the number 3. He's locked in and set to go racing tonight. He's going to be your pole sitter. He'll start alongside Jeff Ryan in the 37, who is not locked in, and he would need a win and some more help to get in.
Moving on back, we find Tom Bourne in 3rd position, in the 16 next to him, Jeff No in the 55 in 4th place.
Starting 5th is Eric Wineland in the 21. He could use a win, but he's already in on points if he just stays where he is tonight. Travis Beckner locked in the number 28.
Back behind them, Ryan Swan, currently sitting, not locked in on points, needs to hope for a good night in 7th place. Paul Irvin next to him needs a win in the 48 to in 8th place.
Danny Ware starts in 9th in the 00. Jordan Martin rolls off 10th in the number 11.
Back in 11th place, we find Logan Hartman, the 51 machine. Tommy Ryan, the 99 is next to him in 12th place.
13th place is Justin Anasogak in the 88. Just needs to finish where he is right now in the points, and he'll move on to the playoffs. Justin Munsell starts alongside him in 14th.
Back in 15th, we find AJ Roderick in the 56, a driver that's on the outside looking in. Cameron Hearn just needs also another driver that needs a good night, and is currently sitting in the top 12.
Bryce Senesac starts 17th in the 09. Brad Slaughter Jr. trying to get into the playoffs, rolls off 18th.
We go back to 19th, Tyler Hallman in the 42s in 19th, and then Leith Hicks in 20th in the 53 car.
21st is James Scioli. He's locked in. Colin Fambro needs a win or just some good points to get up 5 points to the cut line in 22nd.
23rd, we find Matthew Cochran in the number 4 machine. Christopher Tate's lined up next to him in 6th car in 24th.
And in 25th place, it's James Coey's number 24. Jeffrey Wilson starts 26th in the 85 truck.
Back behind them, Carter Coops in the 52 in 27. Then a lot of guys locked in near the back. Matthew Bell, one of them in the 9 truck in 28th.
29th place is David Wise, starts number 33 truck. He's locked in. Going for more wins tonight, Alex Weaver starts 30th in the number 98.
Back in 31st, find Garrett Grant. He's got a long day ahead of him in the 46. Needs to get a good finish. He's way back there. Needs to improve. Jacob Bell in the 77. Next to him in 32nd.
33rd place is Cody Cutler's number 25. Jordan Hurley locked himself in at New Hampshire. He starts 34th.
And rounding out your field of 35 trucks, Bobby Tinch in the 66 machine.
Look at our race analysis. 80 laps tonight. About 210 miles here from Talladega. 35 drivers in the race. Field rolls through the tri-oval now. That start-finish line much further down. This race from flag to flag, 1 hour, 14 minutes if we go green from end to end. It is now time to go racing one final time in the regular season before we chop off everybody from 13th on back. They will not get a chance for the championship. Everybody else will. Green flag flies. We're racing at Talladega. to the start-finish line. Lap 1 complete. Hartz out in front. Tom Bourne just behind him in the 16. Eric Wineland jumps to the high side in the 55. Jeff No making a third lane up top here, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's surprising he's making a third lane so early on. I don't think many people are going to be willing to work with him at the moment. I think he's actually probably, if anything, just drifting on back. Maybe he decides he's going to want to play this a little bit more conservative here as the race goes on.
Neat, orderly lines forming in the back of the field. Still 2 even rows down the back straightaway. The 16 pushing the 3, the 37 pushing the 21. Paul Irvin, he's in a must-win scenario, I believe. He's got to get up there and push, and lead some laps tonight, put himself in position. Remember, on the left-hand side of the screen, the ticker, the blue drivers, those drivers are advanced. The ones in yellow are in on points, and everyone else is in the white.
Looking at Paul Irvin trying to push some momentum forward. Again, this is what we're talking about, those 2 lanes of traffic. Fairly orderly, fairly predictable at the moment. Each lane holding their own as they come across the lines. And 4 guys single file out towards the back, just kind of starting to ride the laps out. I see the 6, though, however, making some moves up to the top. So Christopher Tate's trying to go forward. He's got an 85. Lead Jeffrey Wilson in behind him, trying to push him along. And Eric Wineland down jumping to the top lane.
Yeah, that's an interesting call there. He's did he get a lap lead? I think that might have just been for points because he did get that lap lead. So he's going to drop and get out of these kind of scary scenarios here. Doesn't want to be in the midst of a crash if it happens. That would take him out of the championship hunt, take him out of his playoff position. So he needs to be a little bit careful tonight. He grabbed the only point that's going to matter for now and got the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's a smart move to do. Just get that bonus point early. Now you can just kind of sit back, relax, and kind of just worry about the race you got ahead. Probably just going to kind of settle himself in at the tail end of this pack.
Jeffrey Wilson up 10 spots and making more room on the top side for his number 85 Chevrolet.
Yeah, he and Christopher Tate were trying to move forward a little bit and actually see Tom Bourne, a few more guys actually, all going to the back. I believe all those drivers part of the same team.
Well, got some news for everybody. Not everybody can go back there. So that's going to be diminishing returns, I think.
It's an odd scenario in a race when you think about it. No one wants to be the leader. Everyone wants to be in the back. Usually it's the opposite.
Well, you want to get back there because it's a safe place to be. But if everybody's back there, it's not a safe place to be. So there's the catch-22 there. Look at this, 3 wide, 4 wide now. Maybe this is why they're bailing out to the back. 4 wide for 5th place.
Oh boy, oh, that's kind of a little aggressive, a little too early there, guys. Be careful. Oh, be very careful there. Looked like Ryan and Martin doored each other there for a second. Back to 3 wide.
Yeah, back to 3 wide like that's simple too. Big wide racetrack here at Talladega, but it will feel incredibly narrow when you're that middle truck.
Yeah, you almost feel claustrophobic, even if you have no sense of claustrophobia. You definitely will feel claustrophobic being in the middle because you feel like if you just make a one move to the inch to the left, to the inch to the right, you may end up dooring someone. If you're not careful, it gets really tight very quickly, especially in the later laps of the race when people are not willing to give any space.
Travis Beckner to the top spot, locked in, and he's got Ryan Hartz right behind him. 2 trucks that don't have to worry much about tonight. They can make whatever moves they'd like, and you can see already a nice orderly single file line forming at the back of the field there where everyone is just ticking off laps. Up front, they're doing much more than that, though.
Yeah, they're not just taking off the laps, they're trying to lead every single lap that they can. At least that's what it looks like at the moment. I want to mention, too, we talked about Christopher Tate a little bit earlier on. He's been making solid progress forward. Started in 24th, up to 7th place in only the first 5-6 laps of this race.
There's a look at Christopher Tate, and we've had 4 leaders and 4 lead changes in the first 6 laps. So that gives you an idea of what we're going to see. We had 39 lead changes last night in the Cup Series race. 6 jumps up to that outside lane in front of Jordan Martin. Leaves Munsell there in the middle, trailing the 99 of Tommy Ryan and the 37 of Jeff Ryan. Remember last night those 2 teamed up, Finian, towards the tail end of the race without a caution. Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, who does know what would have happened. Although I will say, I feel like that strategy did still play out in their favor. However, they both get involved in the incident. Weren't quite able to compete there at the end. Doing pretty well at the moment as Becker comes in, slides in front of the 37 of Jeff Ryan. He's going to slow down momentum in that middle lane. Here comes the top lane now with Christopher Tate, Jordan Martin leading a charge.
And you'll note, in the top 15, there is 1 driver that is currently in the playoffs on points. That's Justin Anasogak. Everybody else, the other 5 drivers that qualified for that yellow badge that are in on points but not locked, they are playing this very, very safe. They don't want to be in the middle of all this right now. They'd rather pick up the scraps when everyone else makes their mistake. Beckner, Hartz, and Tate 3 abreast for the top spot.
Yeah, it isn't a bad strategy. That being said, though, if you're running that slower pack, trailing the field, you got to make sure you don't lose the pack entirely. We've seen many times where guys try to play it safe and careful, and they end up losing the pack and never quite able to catch up by races in. So that's the big risk, staying back that far low. At the moment, it seems like they're doing a pretty good job. Everyone's just pretty much single file, and here's Paul Urban dipping out. He's had enough. He's going to drop to the back. Yeah,
it looks like he's subscribed to that similar strategy. The 37 jumps to the bottom, and the 99 will follow. So they had an opening part there. That will drop Beckner back to the nose of Munsell, a little bit deeper there in the sucker hole as Christopher Tate edges ahead here. He's got the lead for a moment. Now the inside takes advantage out of turn 4.
As I say, not many people seem to be willing to work with Beckner. He just left out the dry. Now he's picking up Christopher Tate as Tate drops in the middle lane.
Whoa. 55 to Jeff No had a little bit of a snap there. Other trucks moving around just a little bit, but Jeff and Tommy Ryan lead the way, and Christopher Tate and Travis Beckner in the middle groove. And the 6 dropped in front of the 28. The bend in the outside lane, and they have stalled. Jordan Martin now drops into the middle.
Yeah, it's tough to keep the momentum going. You need at least 4 or 5 trucks to really keep a lane alive and well. Other than that, we saw one of the Ryan brothers, Jeff Ryan, get a little squirrely out of lane. Here comes the 11 back with a charge for Anasogak leading, and Christopher Tate can drop to the bottom, front of the 37 to secure the lead.
3 wide for second. Tate, though, the lone driver out front. Now the 37 will abandon his brother to jump in front of the 28 truck, maybe hoping that they can both eventually end up leading both lanes and sort of control it like a Hendrick group, but now they're going to be 3 wide again for the top spot.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised they tried to do that now rather than when they were in the front. As looks like Tommy Ryan stuck in behind Tate, not really making forward progress. Now Jeff Ryan dropping to the bottom lane. Beckner now open with a push from Ryan Hartz. Jordan Martin still trying to make something happen on the top lane. He's got the 88 to 55, and one of the 588 sprint trucks, I believe that's Jeffrey Wilson, still pushing on that top lane.
Yeah, it is Jeffrey Wilson's 88. He came from a long ways back too, so up inside the top 10. On board now with Justin Anasogak, who doesn't seem afraid to be up in the mix here, Finian, but that could cost him a chance at a playoff run. It's not the cautious approach, but it could pay off big if things kind of pan out at the end the way that they are right now. But we're 70 laps away from that being the case, so who knows?
Yeah, I was going to say, it is kind of surprising to see him up here. You know, he doesn't necessarily need to be arguably up here. He could probably be a couple cars back, riding single file at this moment in time, but he's just trying to run it like he does normally. I guess he's going to try to get to the front. I don't believe he's led a lap yet, so I think that's his main goal at the moment, trying to get a lap led. Then maybe you might see him drop back. We saw with Wineland earlier on.
Jeff and Tommy Ryan paired up again. This time Beckner will get another big push from the 3 of Ryan Hartz, the 6 of Christopher Tate, just in behind there. So while these drivers continue to kind of fluctuate revolving door style up front, if we look in the background, you'll see that there is a big group of single file drivers. The very tail of this is Bobby Tinch in the 66, and he's the driver that's in position to lose the draft if he had to check up at any point. He's got no safety net behind him. He needs to stay full throttle and stay close to that 46.
Yeah, he's a bit lucky that this car's a little bit more forgiving when it comes to being a little bit further back in the draft. But like you said, if there's any big checkup or any reason to slow down for him, he's going to be SOL, I guess it's a family way of putting it, because he'll just be dropping back. No one's going to be willing to drop back to pick him up, so he'll lose the draft and we'll have to just hope for caution at that point.
Still a lot of shifting and shuffling here in the front 15 or so. Laith Hicks in the 53. On the bottom in the background there, Justin Anasogak tucks into the middle groove. Beckner and Jeff Ryan still neck and neck for the top spot here out of turn 4. Both with their respective team drivers giving a big shove here out of the final corner. And here comes the 85. Sorry, Finian, with help from the 48 of Swerve Irvin, who he thought dropped out of this mix. He's right back in the thick of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm surprised they're still trying to mount this charge on the top lane, just the 2 of them. It'll help. They can move a little bit in the short run, but long run, they're going to start dropping back. You see them already starting to lose a little bit of gas here. Jordan Martin, who we saw trying to ride that outside lane, same thing with the 88. They will kind of just give it up and ran down to the middle lane. Ooh, now Beckner looks like he wants out. He's going to the top lane. Hart's now leading the middle.
Yeah, there's not a lot of loyalty up here other than between the 37 and 99. And the 48 and 85 are actually, they must have been planning something because Irvin had the opportunity to slip into the middle groove and he did not take it. So he's pretty committed to the back of the 5-wide sports truck. As this 3-wide group has not really disintegrated from the start of the race. It's just been different drivers leading each lap. Hartz has only led 1 lap. He will lead now 2. Jeff Ryan has led 4. Tate has led none. But critically, that number 28, he has led 5 laps so far.
Yeah, here, see what he's going to do. He's going to kind of stick back here. Looks like he's going to slot himself in the 55. 85 left out the dry on the top lane for the first time in a while. Will be back 2 wide.
3 dropped below the yellow line there on the back straightaway and blended back in. All is fair there, but Tate now with help from the 11 to the front and opens the door for Anna Sogak here.
Yeah, and so we were talking about him before, has yet to lead a lap this race so far. Here's a golden opportunity. If he can try to use some momentum here, a little bit of side draft to get himself to front, lead that lap, and then I'm really curious to see what he's got in store. He's actually getting a great push from the 20. He might be able to do it this time by.
Across the line, and a Sogak close. Did he lead that lap? I don't think he did.
He did by 0.03 of a second.
Oh boy, all right, so Anna Sogak now has one in the books. That's an important point. If I was him, I'd either stay here or as soon as I lose this spot, I'm getting out.
Yeah, if I was him, I would just kind of start dropping back immediately now if I was him. He had some help with teammate Travis Beckner and see that a bunch of guys in that same Discord. In fact, it's Christopher Tate, Eric Wineland, Jeff Note, Jordan Martin, Anna Sogak, Ryan Hartz, Travis Beckner, all in the same Discord channel, and all of those guys near the front of the field.
I like
Eric Wineland.
I like that Wineland is back here because he's just outside of this front group, but he's ahead of all the group, the tail of the group that's kind of lollygagging here. He's got the ability to move around here. If he gets right up on that 98 truck in front of him, he can move forward. If he wants to go backwards, he's got a little bit of safety net behind him. I like how Wineland is playing this race so far. It's safe, but not too safe here. The 28 and the 88 get back to push here, and they might try to mount a charge on this 6 for the big mid-corner run.
Ooh, very slow on that top lane, though, losing a lot of momentum now. Big stack up there. Let's see Ryan, at least one of the Ryans. Jeff Ryan jumping out of lane. Tate's going to stick him behind him, give him a shove forward, and here comes Wilson. Top lane with Paul Irvin. They're never giving up, are they?
Jeff Ryan has been very aggressive to jump up from the bottom and abandon the 99, but as soon as the opportunity presents itself, he drops right back in front of the Megadeth Chevrolet. So there is definitely some planning going on here under the Jeff Ryan helmet to jump up and stall any runs and then pop right back in front of his teammate before they lose too much momentum. It helps to have friends in a race like this.
Oh, yeah. It definitely does help to have friends. Talk about Eric Wineland being in a Discord channel with about 7 other guys, particularly from Jacob Bell Racing and Alaskan Flow Express. So just kind of allowing himself. So he's got 7 other guys, particularly to work with communication. You talk about, and you don't really see that kind of stuff in NASCAR anymore. They used to have something similar to Discord where they would basically have, I think, what they picked, like 5 guys that the drivers wanted to have radio communication channels with, and then they would be able to communicate with them mid-race.
I missed that. I thought that was so cool. But they would abuse it now and make everything boring.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily better than what we have now.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just do it just to try it out and see how it works.
Yeah.
A little trial run.
Pretty fun stuff to listen to your favorite drivers banter with each other. We need more of that. That's one of the things I think Formula One does well, is that they let drivers have banter with each other and not necessarily always in a negative context. Back straightaway, still competitive racing up front. We've been clean and green since lap 1. This begs the question now, Finian, when do you come down pit lane? Because we're getting close to our first pit window. And some of the drivers last night ran the race in reverse. They were targeting the tail end of the race and pit kind of early. But this race could, in theory, go green the entire way based on what we've seen so far. I don't think it will, but you have to have a contingency plan in case it does.
Yeah, you definitely do. I'm curious to see how long these guys are going to push. Again, these guys should be able to go almost to lap 40. I don't think they may quite make it there. I think they'll be short by a little bit, around lap 36, 38. So I think a lot of these guys are going to probably just try to push it as far as they can on the fuel and then come in then. But it's going to be a bit interesting to see what these guys have got planned in store for when they're going to pit. I personally think the best strategy is just pit, run the tank out, and then pit, because you really don't need tires here. That's not really a big concern. And if you do pit early, you run yourself of being not necessarily put a lap down, but cut on the strategy near the back of the field if a caution does come out.
A little bit more organization coming to the front of the field right now. The 3 wide is given way to 2. Jordan Martin leads the way in the number 11. Jeff Ryan in the 37. Quick glance back here at our point scenario. Jordan Martin, he needs a win. So does Irvin. So does Bobby Tinch and Jeff Wilson and more. So Jordan Martin is doing the best he can to get himself that win. That's by leading laps. He just needs to be leading at about 60 laps time.
Doing a solid job. I haven't really talked a lot of Jordan Martin for most of this season. I'm trying to look at the best result he's had so far. Doing a great job here tonight, getting himself up in the mix. Actually ended up finishing 3rd last week in New Hampshire, 2nd at Bristol Dirt. Otherwise has not finished inside the top 10 and finished 13th at Daytona. Oh,
trucks on pit lane. Here they go. The 11's in really deep, deeper than the 3. The 88's on the binders as well. And more trucks in, and they've got it all slowed down. So first pit stop at lap number 20 of 80.
Interesting. I didn't hear a single peep out of anyone on the radio about talking about coming into pit lane or anything. So that was a complete surprise, I'm sure, to some of the guys out there.
Surprise to us as well. So that means that you could expect a pit stop every 20, 25, 30 laps maybe here. I think we'll see some drivers. They're just aiming for a window. I think probably 30 lap runs from here to the end. One more stop.
Yeah, that was all the guys I mentioned. Jacob Bell Racing Discord, all of them working together. Jacob Bell Racing, Last Name Flow Express, all those guys working together in the same channel. I mean, with 7 trucks, they can keep some pretty good pace going. They'll get nose to tail pretty quickly, and I see all of them out of the box. Looks like no penalties for any of the guys in that group, so they should be ready to go.
And no takers. Well, there's a couple takers back here. Alex Weaver and Matthew Bell, they're on pit lane. So I could imagine that they're going to just try to maybe one-stop this from here, Finney, and maybe go to lap 50 and then straight to lap 80 to the end?
I guess so. I mean, that makes the most sense. I think they're trying to get going here. Heard Jordan Holy a little upset with someone. Oh, and I see him next to Cameron Hearn. These guys don't have any history with each other whatsoever.
Keep our eyes on these drivers as they make their way around this entire field. Well, up to 25th has not pitted, 26th on down. They've already made their pit stops here. I think we'll see more drivers hit pit lane each lap until we get to around lap 25, when I can expect most of them to be done. This time through, any takers? Does not look like it.
I think we're probably going to see a lot of these guys just kind of stick with it. I think that they're, again, like I said, their initial game plan is just to run the tank out of gas completely, then come down the pit lane. I am sure a lot of these guys are going to try to keep an eye on that group of 7 that came in just a few laps ago and see what they're up to. Let's go check a look at Cameron Hearn leading this pack of guys from the back of the field. He was running around 26th before the pit stops happened, now up to 7. Potentially more. He's got a great run on the outside lane, and a few guys working with him. We call it Fambro right behind him.
Yeah, Fambro is one of the closest drivers to being in the playoffs on points alone. He only needs 5 more points than the driver in 12th to move into position. So he's going to have to be aggressive tonight to get there, but he does not need to win. Just needs to have a really good night, and that's a lot easier to assume than having to go in needing a victory as more drivers hit pit lane. Munsell, the Ryan brothers, Bourne, Danny Ware, I think that is Roderick, and Ryan Swan as well.
More and more takers coming down to pit lane. We're going to see seeing more and more groups come down. Keeping an eye on the group that decided to, the group that pit, Christopher Tate, looking at their last lap, 52.2. Compared to the leaders, 52.4. So they're running a little quicker.
Yeah, a couple tenths of a second a lap. That will add up quickly now that they've been out there for a few laps. So That's something that is kind of on your mind if you're out here running right now, is Scioli takes the lead away, but you can't let it distract you. It's still track position at a plate track. It's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. If you've got a strategy and you think it's the one, you should stick with it. As here comes Scioli onto the apron, and so far, he's the only, I thought he was the only one, but here comes a whole horde. The 33, the 18, the 42, the 66 in the background, slowing it down. Big stack up here onto pit lane.
And props to everyone getting organized, somehow organized, in order to get down a pit lane. It's very hard to coordinate that without any sort of issue, any driver making a mistake. Speaking of mistake, though, Cody Cutterer missed his pit box completely. He's trying to reverse and get back in, so he's going to definitely lose the draft.
And then there were 6, 7 that have not yet come down to pit lane. I'd expect them to make that stop this time through at the end of lap 25.
And look, I'm surprised Jeffrey Wilson didn't come down with his teammates. A lot of the other 5-wide esports guys just came down pit lane. Not sure why he decided to stay out.
Yeah, trying something different. Here comes everybody else. And that should cycle the lead over to the number 6 truck. And Christopher Tate out of turn 2 right now.
And you see everyone joining out on the track in behind that leading group.
So we're going to have a period of probably about, 10, 15 laps where everyone's kind of accordiating back together. About a quarter to a half of this run will probably just be people kind of reassembling the pack. We'll see how racy they get, but I imagine that the 6, the 3, and everyone else in this group are going to be leading single file like this for a while. As here comes the rest of the group off pit lane, and it's going to be a pretty big win for those that came down early.
I see a lot of the guys in the recent stop, because I think they stayed out so long in that leading pack, they ended up losing quite a bit of time to the guys that came in early and got themselves organized really quickly. Most feel pretty much single file. Well, I see that. Keep an eye on James Scoyle, Cameron Hearn. They're making some really solid forward progress. Hugh Cortang up on the top lane.
Yeah, they just kind of geared up and went in the 7 and 67. These two have kind of shared the front of a lot of races this season in all 3 series. But they're taking the momentum more right to the front and going to re-engage a battle here that these front 5 or 10 really weren't engaged in as we hit lap number 26. Quick look again at the race recap here for the Truck Series. 17 lead changes, 18 now on lap 27.
Yeah, I was because Christopher Tate just led his first lap officially as the leader of this race. Now the pits have cycled all out. See Scioli and Cameron Hearn complete a lap. I don't think Cameron Hearn's led a lap, so this could be important for him. Again, just in on points. He's got a decent lead, in fact, the best lead in points compared to everyone else. So, arguably, he just needs to, not wreck out of this race, and you could argue that he's good to go. I think he just wants to get a point and a lap lead, secure that. Unfortunately, doesn't have any help. He can't really switch with the 7 because he would lose a lot of momentum.
Down the front straightaway again, and working our way. We're about 13 laps away from the halfway point of this race. Ticking by quickly. It has been green since the drop. And Hearn going out to let the motor breathe a little bit. And that will stall the run that the 7 had to the front.
And taking a look also with the biggest losers from that last run, James Coey, Leif Hicks, Logan Harmon, Cody Cutterer, all lost the draft to the main pack.
Yeah, this is a lonely feeling here at Talladega. It's just not fun.
No, it's not, and there's nothing they can do except hope that a caution happens, although with the field double filing back up, decent chance of that happening.
They've been pretty tame so far. Last night in the Cup Series, I thought we wrecked about 5 times before we had our first yellow at lap, was it 18 or 28 or something like that? But tonight, on lap 28, no signs of a caution yet, only a couple minor close calls. Been pretty clean and green since the drop.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking at is the guys that just came down pit lane last. They are really struggling to get going. Ryan Swan, Matthew Cochran, Carter Koo, Bobby Tinch, Jeffrey Wilson, Jordan Hurley, and Paul Irvin. They're all really struggling out there at the moment. In a pack of 6 behind the leaders. They can't quite get situated. They're actually starting to lose some time.
Yeah, I think the trucks are so draggy that even a moderately disorganized group is going to go pretty fast when there's more trucks involved. I think the Cup cars in particular, if you have a small group of well-organized cars, it's almost impossible to get a big group to go as fast. But the trucks seem to be the other way around. Big group goes faster than a small one, and they're going to have trouble eating that back up.
Third lane trying to form at least. Trying to see who that was. Black and red truck. Tom Bourne in 16.
Yeah, Tom Bourne kind of all by his lonesome in the upper group there for a couple laps. There's a third lane forming now. Cameron Hearn is in command of it. Tyler Hallman jumps in behind. But they are not going the right direction here. I think they're going the opposite direction, maybe on purpose.
Yeah, I think it is on purpose. Tyler Hallman, a driver that needs a win in order to lock himself in. And just choosing to play it easy at the moment, dropping back with Cameron Hearn.
Next time by, 50 laps to go here from Talladega. And Travis Beckner runs P5, Fambro 4, Hart's third, Skyley and Tate your top two. And Christopher Tate leading us on the bottom and looking pretty strong. That middle groove now has got some heavy hitters in it, including Colin Fambro, who again just needs to have a good points night, but a win would just eliminate all doubts. And he's been in the mix. He has been competitive tonight. That's just where you need to be running if you want to have a shot.
Let's see where he's going to place himself, if he's going to continue to try to run up here, or if he's going to choose to kind of lay on back. Has he gotten a lap led at number 18? I don't think he has.
No.
Has a good chance of getting it now. I'm curious if he's going to be aggressive enough to try to take that now, or maybe be a little bit more patient here.
I think there's a lot of patience being shown tonight. We've been, again, last night we had a pretty frantic looking field all night long. We were 2 and 3 wide. Tonight, despite having two distinct rows, everything just looks a lot calmer, and we're just clicking away laps at this rate. And the desperation isn't going to come until maybe lap 50 or 60, when drivers that aren't up front realize that they have to get there. That's when things will start to get very spicy.
Take a look at the manufacturers for a moment for the... See, there's one manufacturer really enjoying this run at the moment.
Wouldn't happen to like bow ties, would they? Best dressed at the prom up front here. They've all found a partner to dance with.
Yeah, 9 of the top 10 are all Chevrolets, and the 2 Fords are not doing too bad either. I mean, they both actually started really well. Started 4th and 5th, considering, again, there are only 2 ones representing the Blue Ovals. Toyotas being a little bit more calm. A lot of them. There are a lot of Toyotas just in the back half of the field at the moment.
Matthew Bell is the top running Toyota, and you'd think, well, 15th, that's not running very well. He's only 9/10 of a second behind the race leader. That's how tight things are here at Talladega.
Yeah, Toyota's choosing to be a little bit more patient here as we approach the halfway point in this race.
Christopher Tate still leads the way. He's led a handful of laps tonight, 6 now to be exact.
Definitely a driver that knows how to weave his way through the field after starting back in 24th, moved his way up to the front very quickly and has remained here, hasn't dropped back, so definitely she's showing some super speedway prowess as we're approaching a lap car here, and he's sticking to the bottom. Oh God, getting flashbacks to Kevin Page here.
It's Cody Cutrer on the bottom, and the field will move up to go around him. Thankfully, plenty of space here at Talladega, not like Daytona where things just get incredibly tight once you go 3. Here tonight, a little bit more manageable.
Almost same corner as Kevin Page too, entering turn 1.
You just needed to be exiting the pits for that to complete the circle. The next driver on that's, by the way, our first driver 1 lap down. Last night at the tail end, we had some drivers out, but nobody 1 lap down. Here's Logan Hartman, the next on the chopping block. And he is 25 seconds behind the next closest driver.
Hartman pulling to the bottom.
Yeah, he's just going to go onto the apron. Smart call there.
I mean, smart, but he's going to lose back again.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to just have to...
I mean, he could have gone to the top.
Yeah.
I was surprised both of them didn't go to the top. That's usually what I do.
Well, you're not out here racing, so... What does that say? I went back and found some old SimTV point of view videos back when we used to stream us driving. Found a race with you driving the Lotus 79.
Yeah.
First thing that happens on screen is you run into a barrier. Immediately out of the SimTV intro, just bam into the wall in the S's. And I was like, that checks out. And then I skipped ahead to the race and you were running 29th. I was like, yep, feels about right.
Yeah, it's funny because the announcers joke that I am very bad at qualifying. It was funny because they thought that I didn't put a time down. They're like, oh, okay. And they realized, oh, no, you actually did try to put a time down.
He's just slow.
Hey, but in my defense, I was running third at that point in the race, so.
Yep. Christopher Tate still leads. Scioli, Fambro, Beckner, Arts, and David Weishart. We haven't really talked a lot about him other than his announcement on Monday that he would be ceasing driving. He and his team, David Weishart Racing, would be ceasing full-time Cup Series operations after this season. That was kind of some bombshell news that they released the other day, but will still be going strong in the Truck and Lodge Box Series. And tonight, again, he's got wins to his name. Just here to collect a couple more trophies before the playoffs kick off, and he's really got to focus in and run for a championship.
Yeah, didn't have the best runs last night. Didn't really make a whole lot of noise last night either. It was a few times he appeared near the front, but didn't quite execute. Finished back 24th yesterday. Look, hoping for some better luck tonight here, running near the top of the field as he's kind of slowly encroached his way to the front of the pack.
Lap after lap ticking away. Kind of in the meat of this race right now. The field has sort of tightened back up again. There is another pack from 24th on down. Carter Coop leading the way, but they are losing 7-8 tenths a second a lap. And they are now about 13 seconds behind the main pack. And if we were to jump in turn 3 and 4, here's what 13 seconds looks like. Yeah,
they're just struggling to find someone to stay in the front. Wow, this really does feel a long time. And there they are. Yeah, they're losing quite a bit. They just can't decide who they want to have in the front leading the pack. And so they're actually double foul at the moment. 5 wide guys on the outside feeling like they can go a little faster.
It's like two separate races.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not a huge level of organization. They need some more trucks. They need them to be more organized. But out front, I mean, all you can hope for at this stage is a caution, because you're not going to make up that time naturally now that you've gotten yourself this far back. So a caution will be necessary. And then for Cutrer and Hartman, they're going to need a wave around. In Cutler's case, a free pass if we get a caution in the next couple of laps.
It's James Galley getting the radio saying if someone could turn some lights on around here. Unfortunately, James.
Yeah, it is going to get dark. That's one thing we should be considering. Is remember how dark it got last night? The sun is almost in the same position, and we still have half this race left to go.
I was going to say, if we did have some more caution, this would be a night race without the lights, which would be very interesting.
Yeah, you can already see the light level is dropping. And this will be interesting to see. I've never really seen a race go much later than this at Talladega. We're going to find out. I mean, we've seen this happen in the real world as well.
Last night the pace cars lights were actually like on, it would be for a night race. So it did actually, the sun did actually set last night by the time we finished it just at the end.
I'd bet that we're about 15 minutes from that time, and we have about 35 left in this race as it stands.
Yeah, so interesting to see how this plays out. Would love this place to have lap lights. It would be absolutely awesome to see. I know it would be a complete fortune for this track to afford it, and there's really not much of a point in doing it.
Well, it can't possibly be more expensive than tearing up SMI tracks every 2 years and reconfiguring them. It can't. Or filling Bristol up with clay every April for 2 days. Or taking the LA Coliseum and paving it and ripping it apart and paving that again every year.
Yeah, true.
Think about how many Talladega races have ended because we were getting close to darkness or we just missed darkness.
I also just realized there is a man standing on the back straightaway.
What?
He's standing up on you can't see it from that angle. Next time they pass by, there's a guy standing on a little, almost like his own flag stand in the middle of the back straightaway. He's in orange.
Interesting. Well, you know what else? You know what is interesting? We are at halfway tonight. 40 laps to go. Christopher Tate leads the way, and here's a look at our race recap in 40 laps with 40 to go. It had 22 lead changes on schedule to do more than we did in the Cup Series last night.
It's kind of crazy to think it hasn't been as, how do you say, I guess as exciting, because guys haven't been just dodging and weaving between lanes, cutting guys off, slamming in front of, sliding in front of other people. But it has been pretty interesting to see these guys kind of work their way up and down the order, trying to make things work. Hasn't gotten too crazy or too out of whack just yet, although I feel like now that we're in the second half of this race, Andy's going to step up a little bit here. We're going to see these guys start to get a little bit more aggressive. What happens when guys get more aggressive?
Aggressive goes around. It hasn't been quite as dynamic is the word I would use. It's been pretty single tone for most of the night. But we're not done yet. I mean, this is just the calm before the storm, as it always is. I could see us getting to lap 78 like this, but lap 80, no way.
Billow's coming up on 2 more lap cars. So cars are on the lead lap and about to be put a lap down. That is James Coey, Leith Hicks, in the 24 and 53 respectively.
So we should keep our eyes on the fuel strategy as well. Remember, the first group came down at lap 20. So I'd expect them to come down pit lane in about 6 to 10 laps.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to probably try to see if they can reach lap 50. I would assume they would try to reach lap 50, give themselves a little bit more leeway in the fuel. So got some connection issues.
If they can get to 50, then they're set to the end, assuming no overtime. Here's onboard Leith Hicks in the 53. And that field is bearing down on them very quickly. It is going to be a 10 to 15 mile an hour speed difference.
Yeah, and also speaking of stragglers out in the field, that second pack who we saw trying to get themselves organized and going, they've not made any forward progress. They're now dropped to 17 seconds behind the field.
Yeah, just since we last mentioned them, 4 seconds of time lost. That's how much they're losing. Here's Christopher Tate on board with them now as the lap trucks get closer and closer in the windshield. Down to about the final half hour worth of racing at this stage.
Here's see if we're going to see these guys stay to the bottom or go to the top. It looks like they're going to go to the top side.
And there's the speed differential here in full bump draft mode, 10 miles an hour. And that's what it looks like.
Yeah, they should hopefully get a little bit of side draft to kind of get them up to speed here if they jump back in behind. Should be officially caught with the leaders and be able to do some battle with the other guys that are a lap down.
Yeah, not what Logan Hartman wanted to see, because that will make sure that he doesn't get a free pass. Cody Cutrer is blended into the groove here. He was one of the other drivers that went a lap down. He is currently in the free pass position. He has melded himself right into the middle of this pack. Should we get a yellow and he's not in it, he would be the driver to advance and get his lap back.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's got to keep an eye on Hicks and Coey as they can potentially try to fight him for that spot. I'm sure he's going to try to make sure that doesn't happen.
Two orderly lines up in the main pack, and 16 seconds back is pack number 2.
And this is also a really helpless feeling. You feel like you're in a pack, you feel like you should be going forward, but unfortunately, guys, you're not moving forward. Not making any progress and losing a significant amount of time each lap. It's a very helpless feeling.
Christopher Tate on the apron out of turn 4.
That wasn't planned.
I don't know if that was intentional. Here's a look.
It's not.
I didn't quite catch how he found himself there.
Yeah, it almost looked like he pulled himself off because he didn't get hit from Hartz. Yep. He got loose.
Pulled off, not exactly sure. He's dropped now to 23rd. To the tail of this group. I wonder why that is.
Huh. Yeah, he didn't say anything on the radio. In fact, the radio has been extremely quiet. No one really talking or anything. He didn't say or mention anything that he was, dropping back, jumping down to the inside. It's an odd place to do it. Typically, you do the back straight away.
Yeah, very strange. I know the trucks don't have a huge corner speed, so they can pull onto the apron without really having to lift. but very odd, to say the least. We are 35 coming to 34 laps to go. And again, this has just been extremely orderly. Everyone's kind of been crossing their eyes, dotting their I's and crossing their T's. You can cross a capital I.
I guess, but it doesn't really cross.
I mean, it's an intersection.
I guess.
You know, if you make a left at a T intersection, you have to cross the road, right?
I guess that stretch of logic, I guess you can't cross them out.
Cross your I's and dot your T's, folks.
Sim TV way.
There's no I in Sim.
I am really curious to see, though, when these guys are going to come down a pit lane, because we are kind of knocking on the door of that window. We're seeing around lap 50 is where we think they were going to come in, and then cut the, by cutting the rest of the race up in 30-lap stints. We're approaching that window now on lap 48.
Yeah, no one went more than 26 laps on the first run. But again, I would make the assumption now that they're going to try to break up the last 60 laps into 30-lap increments, and maybe leave a little on the table for overtime. So maybe hit a lap 51 or 52 if you can stretch it that far, and then have a little extra on the table.
Yeah, I think the hallmark sign usually when these guys are going to come to pit lane and when everyone starts to dive for that inside lane. It looks like they're starting to bunch up a little bit more to the bottom. Up and speak of the devil. No, what? Not sure that was a fake out or if they thought they were pitting and then decided not to. That was interesting. Saw a few guys jump out of lane.
I think if you can make it to 50, you're not going to pit before 50. I'd be surprised. I could see people pitting this time by, but not last. And I imagine most will try to go beyond the 50 lap or the 30 lap to go mark, which would be in 2 laps time. So while we are waiting for pit stops to get underway real quick, we haven't had a chance to look at our SimRat Market replay yet, but fans, be sure to check out simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and let you stay more focused on the racetrack. No takers this time by either.
Yeah, I thought Weiland would have been coming down. It looked like he was gonna come down, but then realized he might have been a lap early, so stayed out. But he's gonna stay out again here. Start lap 50.
Now, if you're shooting for the math, that first group that came on down would come on down next time by. But again, I imagine that you're going to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room just in case we end up in an overtime scenario.
There's no reason they're not, account for those 2 extra laps, because it very well could be a possibility that we do go into overtime.
Better safe than sorry in that context. You do not want to get yourself in a scenario where you might win the race and then have to hit pit lane.
Stand by. I see Jordan Martin, a few guys on the bottom lane jumping down below. Here they come.
Whoa, a couple trucks a little bit hot. Trouble behind him.
Jeff No around.
And will it trigger a caution? He's going to tangle with Alex Weaver. They're both going to get penalties for unsafe pit entries here, but we will stay under green.
That was something.
Yeah, just 2 trucks kind of occupying the same space there right at the tail end of the braking zone, and something we see happen a lot. I'm actually surprised we hadn't seen it already tonight. Of course, it would be Talladega of all the places to have a green to checkered race.
You say it like you're disappointed.
No, I'm all for clean and green. Here comes the next group. Big one, Scioli, Fambro, Weishart.
53 of Hicks around, going to tag Brad Slaughter.
On the apron, though, we stay green still. I think we got away with that one.
I was waiting for that to bring a caution out of all things.
Yeah, let's go back and just see how this starts. You have to go up top here. Was there some contact maybe that led to this, or just locking up the brakes?
I didn't see him. He just got on the brakes too
Slaughter
hard.
did a great job. I mean, he might have got tagged there, but if he didn't, that was some really good evasive driving out the right side window as everyone else takes off.
he definitely did get tagged a little bit. That was just great driving. I was expecting to go careening into someone else and just cause a huge wreck down on the entry, but did a fantastic job saving that truck. I'm sure he definitely needs a new change of racing overalls after that.
You see the update as this next group comes in? You see the thing today about NASCAR now mandating fireproof underwear?
Really?
I thought that was a thing forever.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm surprised it wasn't.
Yeah, apparently head socks and fireproof socks, shirt, and underpants were not required prior to today.
Oh.
So
I guess better to get a head start if someone's underpants catch on fire.
I'm on fire. You're not on fire, Ricky Bobby. All right, so here come Jeffrey Wilson, Jordan Hurley, Paul Irvin, that group that was trailing. Now, they're going to take the lead, but they need to come to pit lane soon here, Finian, and they're going to be forfeiting a ton of time and might even go a lap down pretty soon after based on the pace they've been running.
I don't even know what you do if I'm in this group. I would just honestly just kind of, at this point, I would just stay out and just kind of hope for the best, just run the tank out. Because if they pit now, they're going to be back where they were. If they just stay out, kind of hope that things get a little rowdy, people start to make more aggressive moves that they cause caution. They'll at least still be in the lead lap, but if they pit, they may go a lap down. And I'm just saying that because there are guys in here, guys like Paul Irvin, Jeffrey Wilson, they need a win in order to get themselves into the playoffs. So they kind of have to go for broke. And at the moment, the way they're running, they're going to be put a lap down soon.
Well, they're going to hate to see this picture. Single file for the entire field. And that is not good news for those drivers, as they're going to have to hit pit lane. And when they do, as you mentioned, they're going to drop 15, 20, 25 seconds behind the lead and be waiting on a yellow that might take till 5 laps to go to trigger. And when and if that happens and you're 30th, you got a lot of work on your plate.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I was just hearing on the radio Jordan Hurley talking about coming down to pit lane, about his box. His box is early, so I think they might be coming down this time by.
And nope, stay out this time through. But just for reference, Travis Beckner, who would cycle to the lead, is only 16 seconds behind them, and they still have to make their very long pit stop sequence and pit lane run, so they're going to drop even further back than they were before.
Yeah, and also just looking at the last pit stop sequence, biggest loser out of the last sequence is Matthew Bell. Lost the pack and is currently stuck with James Coey, and they're not really making a whole lot of speed between the two of them, so they're slowly dropping back. Again, Matthew Bell, nothing really to worry about, just a little bit of a boring night ahead of him.
And the other thing is, if we have a look at our main pack here, it's, I don't know, is that not quite 15 cars? Maybe 20?
Yeah, I'll say 20.
That's all that's in this main pack. If we run green to the end from here, it's going to significantly reduce the chaos that we otherwise would see. We'll still have some chaos, but less cars to create it. That means that we could, in theory, go green literally to the checkered flag. It's really when you get all 30 trucks on top of each other making moves and the desperation starts that you really expect to see those pre-checkered flag cautions, as that last group finally has to hit pit lane at lap 55.
And in the pits they go for what should be service to their trucks for the final time tonight. And that leads with everyone cycled back out. Beckner now officially leader with Reinhardt, Anasogak, Martin, Wineland, your top 5. Anasogak and Wineland, 2 guys that are on the bubble. Same thing with Jordan Martin, a guy that needs a win. But all the guys that are on the bubble and need a solid result, you see they're all up there in the top 5 at the moment, ready to duke it out.
So going double file again, Scioli now with help from Colin Fambro, and look at Anasogak, Fambro, they're fighting hard to get themselves into the playoff picture. See a lot of yellow in the top 15 now, Finney. I think all the drivers that are yellow, all 5, maybe there's 6 rather, so Swan is down there in the mix in 23rd. 5 of the 6 are in the top 15 and hoping that they can hang on to the spots and the points that they were clinging to before. Colin Fambro, though, is ahead of all of them. He just needs 5 points ahead of the driver he was chasing. That was Eric Wineland. Right now, Eric Wineland is down in 10th. Fambro's running 4th. That would be the difference.
I was going to say, and they know they need to be up here at this point in time, because now it's crunch time. Pit stops are done. You don't need to come down pit lane any more times this race. It's effectively a 20-some-odd lap sprint to the end here, so you want to make sure if you haven't already gotten yourself near the front, you want to start making progress to the front. As James Scully gets a big push to the front. Colin Fambro now up on the top by himself. He has a chance to lead a lap here.
And if Colin Fambro could lead a lap, that would give him one more buffer position. But if he were to lead the last lap, that would solve all problems. Help from David Weishart behind. Brad Slaughter Jr. We hadn't talked a whole lot about Beckner sideways off the bumper of the 3.
Yeah, we talk about, always don't push the pusher. Hard, easier said than done. You want to try to give your lane as much momentum as possible, but you want to give a little bit of a nudge, but not a full-on push, because that can turn the car in the front of that line. And we're trying to make some more progress on Fambro. Fambro now tied with Brian Hart's in line.
Closing in on 20 laps to go. We are less than 20 minutes to go if we go green to the checkers. So we're down into crunch time. It's 10 o'clock just after on the East Coast. By 10:30, we'll know who wins this race.
If this rate continues.
If this rate continues. I built in a little buffer time there for a yellow or two.
Or 3 or 4. You never know.
I don't even know if we have enough laps to do 4, maybe. We have lap down trucks tonight. We didn't have last night. That's why our cautions were so quick.
Speaking of which, leading of those trucks a lap down is Alex Weaver in the 98. So if caution does come out, he would be receiving the lucky dog, though he's stuck in this lead pack. So odds of him avoiding any incident are slim to none. Speaking of potential incident, these guys are catching up quickly on 2 lap down trucks. Logan Harper and Bobby Tinch are just up the road.
Colin Fambro getting nosed ahead here. This is a critical moment. If he can lead this lap, it's one more buffer position that he has over the 21 of Eric Wineland.
Update from Christopher Tate. He has just left the server with a manual disconnect. Not sure what happened. He pulled out a lane, running in 13th, pulled out a lane on the back straightaway a lap ago, and just pulled into the pits, called it a race.
Maybe he had somewhere to be, but it's unfortunate. He was having a really good run tonight. Led a whole bunch of laps, I think. He led about, 17. That's almost a third of the laps we've run tonight.
Yeah, no, it was definitely going to be a solid contender. It's kind of unfortunate to see him not here. Hopefully everything's okay.
This 18 is so close to having led a lap and getting one of those points in the books. Now, as Eric Wineland led a lap, that's a critical number to know as well. He has. So he led one earlier. So Colin Fambro actually, as they were running 4th and 9th earlier, had not bumped Wineland out. Right now, as it stands, he would, regardless of the lap led or not, but this just helps him just a little bit. So if he can get this push, as the 28 and 7 are pushing pretty aggressively, so close. 20 laps to go this time around from Talladega.
I can imagine just hoping that Weiser just done. Just ram me, come on, push me, give me a shove.
Anything. 20 laps to go. No cautions yet today, and we have had a staggering 28 lead changes, just 11 shy of last night.
Yeah, there's a good chance we might actually pass last night's total if this keeps going up.
In fewer laps with fewer trucks, too.
Yeah. There's Fambro finally getting ahead of the 7. I think he's trying to see if he can hopefully clear to get to the bottom lane. Can't quite get there. Weishart giving him a decent shove on the back straight. Here comes James Scully back on the bottom with help from Travis Beckner.
Beckner hasn't been shy about shoving the 7 on the front straight. That's what Fambro needs from Weishart, but he has not been as aggressive with the bump drafts. So he's kind of been stuck in this purgatory of second, third place.
So Beckner giving a bit of a shove to Scully, almost sent him around a little bit in the tri-oval.
Laps clicking away. Drivers that are outside looking in, their opportunities are winding down. The sun is setting. The truck's kind of weaving down the back straightaway there a little bit. And that 28 of Beckner, he is shoving so aggressively, it's not even go time just yet.
Because it definitely isn't go time yet, but go time is approaching very quickly as we're inside 20 laps to go. Crazy, just a bit surprised. Almost like we haven't seen 3 wide yet. I would expected some guys more towards the back trying to make something happen on the outside, at least making some sort of attempt, but we're still double file.
I think with around 12 to 10 to go, that's when we really see people get up and get up on their wheel and go after it. 18, a little bit too much left in this race, unless you're way in the back. And everyone that is not in this main pack is just praying for a caution flag to reset the field and have enough laps left to do anything with it.
Yeah, we have 19 trucks in this leading pack. Those are all the trucks that have a shot of winning the race. Everyone else is kind of scattered about a lap down or around the rest of the track.
Here comes a little bit of a push from Danny Ware. He's got AJ Roderick and Tom Bourne nose to tail. 3 Toyota Tundras lined up in the outside lane. We'll see if they can build any momentum, but still Chevrolet's atop the standings, and that's how it's been. It is 10 bow ties in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Toyota's still very quiet. Quite a few of them lurking just outside within the top. And actually, there's actually, now that I think about it, there's only about 4 Toyotas in this leading pack. Not been a whole lot of luck for the Toyotas tonight. A lot of them a lap down or out of the leading group.
Eric Wineland, the lone Ford, up in the top 15. 2 Toyotas, Munsell and Roderick, racing the top 15 spots right now, but it is Chevrolet, 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 the top 4, and then 3 more rows behind that.
Really curious to see who's going to be the first one to make a move out of this group. If we're going to see anyone or in the middle of the pack, or if we're going to see the first guys come from the back to the front. I actually do see someone on a lane. This is 56. AJ Broderick trying to make some noise.
Yeah, he was with his other 2 teammates, the 00 and the 16 to Tom Bourne, but they didn't stay hooked together. This is when your friends really count. You got to lean on who you've made friends with tonight if they aren't your teammates.
Up, and here they go. I just found the 00 and the 16.
Yep.
At least 00 is going to the top. 16's bailing going to the bottom.
Roderick's going to bail out though. They're not quite committed enough to the goal just yet. They might be later, but right now it's still Fambro and Scioli dead heat here at the front of the field. Now Weishart giving the 18 a bigger shove, and the 18 has a nose ahead. Can he lead this lap? Not quite. He's so close, Finian.
Yeah, the guys on the bottom have been denying it to him every single lap for the last 10, 15 laps. He's just not quite been able to get there. As soon as he's able to, coming out of the trial, will he get that last minute shove from Beckner to Scioli that's able to keep Scioli up in front. Actually, how many laps has Scioli led at this point?
Scioli, so far tonight, out of the 65 completed, has led 13.
I'm sure Fambro wished that scoring line was on the back straightaway. He's led halfway through the back straightaway pretty much every lap. He's going to get a decent run actually out of this corner here, out of turn 4. Things can he maintain on the front straightaway, and this is where we mentioned before, Beckner gives some really good pushes to the 7 to get him up in front.
Lap traffic just ahead of them. It's Laith Hicks again, about to go a second lap down with 4 of Matthew Cochran, who is last driver on the lead lap as it stands.
Ooh, 3 wide outside the lane. AJ Roderick with a huge head full of steam. He's got Tommy Ryan and Jeff Ryan behind him.
Just in time to catch the lap traffic too. This could get very interesting.
Uh-oh. Here's how this is going to get sorted out. Oh, and the lap cars are side by side as well.
Oh boy, 14 laps to go. Is this where things all come off the rails after 66 laps of green flag racing? 3 abreast, the 56 with a big shove from Tommy Ryan in the 99. Coming up on traffic, we're going to have to be 4 if they stay this way. 3 wide for second place as they come rocketing off turn 4 here at Talladega. 4 wide as they navigate lap traffic.
One of those times where you're glad we're at Talladega and not Daytona, because at Daytona that'll be a lot more sketchy than it already is.
They did that very, very well. 13 laps to go. Look how tight it's getting in the middle of the field there. The 18, the 33, and the 56 almost touched. But now 3 even rows. Does the outside have momentum to do anything with the barrage of Chevrolets in the inside?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to need another truck or 2 to really kind of keep some momentum going. They're just able to get time with the top few rows. Whoa, and a big shove from Tommy Ryan almost into the 33 Weiser, but I don't think they got any more momentum to give to really clear or make any moves ahead of the leading trucks in the middle and the bottom lane.
All right, we're on borrowed time here for Luck, I think, at this stage. 13 laps to go, 3 abreast, 5 rows deep. There's only so long you can do this before luck runs out. So far, so good, though, as everyone bobs and weaves here through the tri-oval. This is the portion of the track that is the lightest on the steering wheel. 12 laps to go from Talladega. Skyoli leads.
And now if you have a major move to the front, there's not really many places for you to go. If you're in the back, really can't make fall wide, and that's really pushing it.
Outside lane stalled a little bit. Now they're going to get another big shove down the backstretch. What we've seen, though, is the trucks don't have enough horsepower to really make that upper groove work without huge shoves. Fambro is just nosing ahead again, but he has still not been able to hang on to it enough to lead a lap.
I imagine at this point he's going to get irritated. He's gotten so close to leading a lap every single lap. Leading sometimes out of turn 4. Ooh, shove almost trying to clear to the top lane. I think was trying to stall their momentum out. Can't quite stall the bottom lane. Whoa, Beckner, big shove to the 7, almost sends him around. And again, close at the line, going to be Scully that led that lap.
Roderick closes in on tasting the lead with the Ryan brothers behind him, the 00 of Danny Ware. And that's how tight and orderly it is on the back straightaway. It is shocking how packed up and trioed up we are. This is dicey stuff, especially for the drivers in that middle groove. Brad Slaughter, he has absolutely nowhere to go. If anybody shakes, he's got nowhere to bail.
Yeah, we were talking about claustrophobia earlier. I can't imagine anyone's feeling with that more than Brad Slaughter at the moment. Boxed in at all sides, has absolutely nowhere to go. He's stuck in lane, and whether he likes it or not.
10 laps to go from Talladega. 10 laps in the regular season left to decide. A whole lot of drivers in the white on the ticker that if they're in the top 20, a win could get them in. The drivers in the yellow in on points before the night started. Drivers in blue are locked in.
Yeah, definitely want to keep guys like Holman, Martin, and actually Jeffrey Wilson, and I believe a lap down at the moment. Where is Jeffrey Wilson? Actually, seen 23rd. So really, AJ Roderick and Jordan Martin, Tyler Holman, all guys with a really solid chance of winning this race. They're the guys that really need a win to lock themselves into the playoffs, and they're all right here near the front in this pack.
It is so densely packed here. The 99 and 8 bounce off each other once. 9 laps to go.
And the 18 is finally going to lead a lap.
Finally, Colin Fambro gets it done. He is basically racing the 21 of Wineland, who's 14th place now. But who knows if this is the order they'll be in 9 laps. My guess is not in this order.
I was going to say Wineland, I'm sure he knows he needs to somehow close that gap. Can't afford to sit back there in 15. Problem is, if you're in his position, where do you go? Because he can't really open up a 4th lane. That's just not going to work out.
Tense moments here at Talladega. Biggest track NASCAR races on, biggest oval they race on. And they are making use of every square inch of the racetrack, from the line to the fence. 3 abreast for the top spot, and then 5 rows behind that out of turn 4. 8 laps to go this time by as the field navigates the tri-oval.
Yeah, you can start seeing the bumps too with these guys. They're getting a lot more aggressive. They're not just giving little nudges at this point. They're just going up and they're shoving that guy up in front of them, giving them as big of a momentum boost as possible. And that's where we could potentially see a wreck coming from if these guys just not holding back anymore.
Off of turn number 2, there is lap traffic a little ways down the road, and there's a whole pack full of them, and they might get there in time as we head down the back straight, Finian.
Weisart making an aggressive move to the top lane to get around Colin Fambro. Fambro now at the mercy of Brad Slaughter now to try to give him a move up forward.
It's going to kill both those outside lanes. There they go! Crash in turn 3, and it's a whole bunch of drivers. 18 is in it, and the 00 gets slammed. The 53 of Laith Hicks, the 56 of Roderick Tinch. Weaver's destroyed, and our first caution at lap 73 of 80.
Yeah, I was going to say, that didn't happen now. It was definitely going to happen by the time we caught that second pack.
That was a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the big one, but it was a big one. David Weishart rolls away in 8th place. Let's have a look at how this started. I just caught the tail end of it here. Bear with me. Let's go back a little bit farther and off into turn 3. And Finian, tell me what you see here.
Yeah, it looked like I think that Weishart might have gone off the nose of AJ Roderick, or I think it might have been Brad Slaughter that gave a bump to the 18 up. And there you see there's a tap from the 56 to the 33. Turns the 18 who gets the biggest hit of that, and AJ Roderick also gets a solid piece of that. See, Weaver hardens the wall in the 98,
Oh,
clips
man.
and destroys Danny Ware in the 00.
And then the 21 of Eric Wineland got through that, and the driver that was about to knock him out of the playoffs was directly involved in it. Watch Wineland drops to the inside and saw all that. Let's ride on board with the 21 here.
Almost got hit by a flying Danny Ware there at the end, too.
Here's Wineland's on board.
Did a great job initially slowing down, avoided all the guys spinning, sliding about, and then woohoo! Almost got clipped there in the end.
Mighty close. And for Danny Ware, that was a big hit. Watch the 98 too. Big outside impact, and then catches off the nose of the 98. Look at the 53 get airborne there as well.
And AJ Roderick taking some solid hits at the end of that as well.
Big mess in turn number 4. Our first wreck at lap 74 of 80. So I'll say that was pretty well done, but this is going to reset us now for the opportunity to only have one more caution flag.
Getting a recap of that too, looking at the championship picture from that. Colin Faber and AJ Roderick both taken out hard. So both of them are effectively going to be out of it. I don't think really either of them got a shot to fix their trucks up enough, and that's going to be a huge break for Eric Wyland. I'm sure he, after getting through that, it's a huge sigh of relief that his 2 main competitors were taken out. Shane Abbey isn't even here tonight, and so we pretty much got just Tyler Hallman left. Paul Urban, I think, is a lap down. Actually, let me check. Where is it? Oh, actually, no, sorry. Urban is on the lead lap.
Realistically, yeah. I think the only driver that actually poses a threat is going to be Tyler Hallman and then the 11 of Jordan Martin. They're the only drivers that could, in theory, knock Eric Wineland out with a win tonight.
It's going to be really tough to see how this is going to play out. A lot of moving parts, a lot of moving pieces here at the end.
Oh, and also, how close is Wineland to Swan? It's about 11 points back. Right now, Ryan Swan is 14th. So we'll keep our eyes on that battle as well. And Justin Anasogak is up in the top 5, so as long as he stays there, he's pretty safe. Cameron Hearn and Garrett Grant were high enough above the cut line, but Garrett Grant, where is he? Ninth.
Ninth, yeah. So they're both doing pretty well. And Cameron Hearn, as long as he finishes this race, like we said, he should be good. He had 34 points at the cutoff line. I want to say he's more than good, especially after that last wreck, taking out quite a few guys.
So we're going to restart with 3 laps to go, which means that if we get a caution flag, it's going to bring us into overtime, and then the final caution would end the race.
We got very short runs to the end here, regardless.
I'm going to guess, just because it takes the truck so long to get up to speed, that we're going to finish this race under green in the first try. But it's going to be a frantic run here. So the top 3 drivers are already locked in. They can be as aggressive as they want. And Asogak and Slaughter need to be a little bit careful.
No, Slaughter is actually locked in.
Oh, Slaughter is locked in. Gotcha. All right, so he's in on points now. Martin and Hallman, they are the ones that need to be coming out of this restart swinging.
Yeah. It's records or checkers for them, basically.
Yeah, that's... Well, hey, we already get the 1 to green. That was quicker yellow than I was expecting. Lights are off on the pace car, so I guess we're going back green next time by.
I was going to say, if you also want to do one of your plugs before we go back green.
Oh, good. Thanks for reminding me. Well, let's get a couple of them out of the way. Fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And be sure to check out areiRacing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. Use code SWAN for 10% off your order at checkout. That is areiRacing.shop. Picks. What you got?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's Talladega, of course it's tough.
Let's see here. What do I like? That's a few of the guys that I like got wrecked out recently. You know what? I'm gonna put it on. I think Jordan Martin. I've seen him up there enough. I feel like he's gonna take the win. He's obviously gonna have to be aggressive enough to get a win. He knows he's got to win this race. So I think he's gonna come out on this restart swinging. Regardless, I don't think he's gonna give mercy to anyone ahead of him. Who's your pick?
I'm going to pick the guy in the Rick's Hot Sauce truck, Ryan Hartz. I think he's in the right spot here, P3. I think he's going to be lurking, and if anybody gets through the crash, I think Hartz is the guy to do it. And he's going to be right behind Scioli. So if there's a crash involving Scioli, it'll probably be because it's off the 3's bumper, and that's a place I'd rather be than getting knocked off someone else's bumper. So going with the 3. David Weishart's truck, by the way, pretty well beat up, and he's stayed out. He will restart 8th. 4 laps left in the regular season. If we get a caution before the white flag, we'll head into overtime. If we get back to the white, the next checkered flag will end the race. Green flag, good restart for the 7, and we're back underway from Talladega. Building momentum up through the gears. Scioli leads right now. Beckner and Anasogak paired together. That outside lane doesn't have a lot of drivers in it yet, though. The momentum isn't getting built. Hearn's got push from Bryce Senesac in the 09. And that inside lane, all sorts of pushes coming from Brad Slaughter and crew.
I think we mentioned Bryce Senesac this entire race, and now here he is in the top 10 when it counts the most. He's actually going to take Cameron Hearn. They're going to work on the outside tower. Hallman stuck on the outside. No one's willing to work with him. 4 wide for just a second as they're all trying to organize themselves.
3 wide in the background as well. Are they going to get tangled together? Coming back to the stripe for 3 laps to go. The desperation here on the restarts. 4 wide in the middle of the front pack here. Everybody grabbing what positions they can as time is running out.
Time is running out. Time's of the essence, and a caution out in the back. Jeff Ryan, David Weishart around.
So we will go into overtime. David Weishart was damaged after the last crash. Let's see what happened here. He and the 46 were pretty well torn up.
You can see Matthew Bell just come a little bit in the triangle, clips 37 and clips 33.
Not really a lot that I thought David Weishart had gotten hooked together with Garrett Grant somehow, but 9 kind of slips up the track here. Up, gets into the 37 and tried to side draft him, and that just went wrong. And 37 backs into the wall, 33 goes around, so that's that.
Yeah, not where I was expecting to see caution occur.
No, always the littlest things that start those big crashes. And Ryan Hartz is your leader, by the way. Well, I'm liking my chances here if we get another quick yellow. We're trying to catch the pace car. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big thing right now is the fact that if we do get a caution before we get the white flag, race is going to be over. That's going to be a big thing for all these guys because they're not only going to be racing just to make sure they get to the white flag. All these guys are going to be racing just to get the lead before a caution comes out, which is really tough to do. You can obviously never predict when that's going to happen.
So let's go back over our scenarios here because if we get an instant yellow, we'd like to know where we stand. I don't think any playoff situations change as it stands because Martin and Hallman were the only drivers that could win their way in based on the drivers that were remaining on the track. And they are down in 6th and 9th. So unless Martin steams on through in the last 2 laps and picks up the win, your playoff competitors are likely not going to change from what we presented to you pre-race. And I think otherwise...
Unless I think if... Let's see, is Colin Fambrell still running on the track? No, he's sitting in the pits getting repairs. Agent Roderick running out on the track. Where is he? No, he is retired. So I would say, yeah, there's a pretty good shot because the only guys out of the points, the guy Colin Fambrell and AJ Roderick, only guys able to race in on points, they're out of the race. So, yeah, unless we get guys getting a win like Jordan Martin or Tyler Hallman, shouldn't see any changes to the championship order. So it'll be interesting to see on this last lap if something happens.
Yeah, we should get the 1 to green, I think, next time by. And despite us having only our first caution lap 74, we have 3 drivers out and only 24 on the lead lap of 34 starters. Last night we had everybody on the lead lap until basically the last couple of laps. Probably because of that new damage model that doesn't actually damage anybody. That probably wasn't helping.
Yeah, I was going to say that they need to fix that.
It's a competition issue, for sure.
Because I was genuinely surprised to see guys getting wrecked. I was like, their car's done. And then they'd be like, and then they'll be out there on the track. I'm like, what? I just fixed that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Your Jeremy Clarkson got fired again?
Did he?
Yeah. Meghan Markle comments. That's something about Meghan Markle he wanted her to be paraded and made fun of or something.
Oh God!
And Amazon fired him. And everyone was in the iRacing forum was shocked. I'm like, man, TV host known for edgy comedy gets fired? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I mean, jokes, folks. You know.
So is he now going to go to Netflix? He doesn't.
I don't know. I mean, how many more? He's basically the 2 biggest documentary creators are out. So I don't know. In case anyone's wondering. Keep up with all the news in the world. We're going to get hit by a comet in a couple weeks.
What?
We're going to get hit by a comet in a couple of weeks.
Oh, good. Are we going to die?
I hope. That's not true, but there is going to be a comet visible for a couple weeks, in a couple weeks, I think. It'll be visible for a little while. Not going to hit us, but if it did, you'd probably hear about it. Or we wouldn't. I'm not actually sure what would happen if we were going to get hit by a comet.
Well, what I was going to say was that was in the news recently. That was like good news was Tom Gorman.
Yes.
Going to be taking part in the Mission Pilot Challenge at Daytona.
So for those that aren't familiar, Tom O'Gorman used to race for LA Honda World in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Won at Daytona and Sebring in 2019. Was our 2022 Grid Life Touring Cup champion. Won some championships with Pirelli World Challenge in 2017 and 2018. I lived with him for a year when I moved here to Chicago. And Tom now finally has gotten his first pro ride since 2019. So he's going to be down in Daytona. Yeah. He self-admitted that the car he's driving is not going to be super competitive, and he's jumping in as the hot shoe in the last stint. The car will probably be a couple laps down, but still a shot to be racing in the big show again, or the little show on Friday afternoon. So that'll be fun. I'm trying to decide if I can get down to Daytona. That work is offering me a trip to go free of charge, but I have commitments to World Challenge in the esports land I'm trying to figure out.
Oof, that's unfortunate timing.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. Honestly, race like that's probably better enjoyed on TV anyway. But is what it is, but we'll see how it goes. Sun is setting, and this is the last opportunity here. We are finishing this race in the next 3 minutes, whether or not it's under green flag. If we get back to the white, the checkered will end the race. If we get a yellow flag, at any point, if you see that yellow flag displayed, the race will be over at the time of caution. Ryan Hartz is your leader. He's going to start on the outside lane. Beckner to the bottom. He is second place.
You can see him staggered, too, trying to give the 3 space, let his teammate in.
Jordan Martin restarts in 6th place. If Jordan or the 42 of Hallman win this race, the 21 of Wineland is out of the playoffs. So this is a critical couple of laps for those 2 drivers and for the 21. Green flag, 2 laps to go from Talladega. Everyone's bunched up here, Vinny, especially at the back half of this field. Keep it straight, keep it clean for 2 miles. Big wiggle from the 88 to the 11, all sorts of sideways.
Yeah, Martin was trying to give Anasoviak a push, and then Jeffrey Wilson also came in to give a shove, and he got all sorts of sideways. Here comes Cameron Hearn, though. Big run on the outside, going to move to the top. He's followed by Bryce Senezek, his friend. They're going to make it 3 wide into turn 3.
Ryan Hartz leads the way. Beckner in behind. The field is 3 abreast in 3 and 4. Can they get back a quarter of a lap big slide up the track from the 7 of Scioli. He's got clear road up ahead of him now.
See, can they make it back to the white flag lap in one piece? An aggressive block by Jordan Martin. He's trying to join Cameron Hearn to make a run on the top side. He knows he needs to win. Ryan Swan on the bottom. They're 4 wide, white flag.
Here comes the 11 to the outside. Jordan Martin with a huge push from the 67. Can he get back to the stripe and earn a playoff spot here at Talladega? 4 wide for a moment in the midfield.
He's trying to make it happen. He's trying to make it work. The 42, Tyler Hallman, he's the 4th car on the inside lane as well. He might also have a shot. He needs to find a way to make a move.
Here comes the 11, but the inside, now the middle groove has a big run. Ryan Hartz is by himself out front with the 28. We're still 4 wide in the middle of the field. 2 corners left plus the tri-oval.
Oh my, I'd be amazed if we make it back in one piece. The top lane's losing a lot of momentum. They're starting to die out. Back to 3 wide in the top part of the order. No one can catch Ryan Swan at the moment. Here they come out of turn 4.
Crash behind him. There they go. The 21's taken out. That's critical there. The one of the cars upside down. Munsell on his lid. Checkered flag waves. Ryan Hartz victorious at Talladega.
Oh, and still wrecking back at the start-finish line. That's a lot to unpack there after turn number 4.
Oh, man. The 9 truck absolutely obliterated somebody. Whew. And that truck is absolutely destroyed. Munsell just trying to roll that 20 truck back to the checker. Here's the video of the finish here. No one could get to the 3. Hartz wins it as the 19 right off the nose of the 7 there right at the tail end. And then just prior to that, here's the last couple of corners with that big crash we saw in the background.
Yeah, curious how this started. Honestly amazed they made it out of turn 4 one piece. I was amazed they didn't wreck right here. They were so close together. Guys are almost bouncing off the wall, bouncing off each other, and then coming out of turn 4 here. Bryce Sennestet got turned first, and Eric Winley getting turned, I think, by Paul Irvin, and Munsell up and over. In the cookie crumble machine, his car is crumbling apart there at the end.
And then watch this. I think it's the 55 that, no, well, the 9 right here. Watch the 9 come into the shot.
Oh,
holy cow.
Oof.
But Munsell, as he came out of turn 4, watch this. The field kind of crumbles around him. There was no way we were getting out of turn 4. This field. See the 5 right here. A little touch maybe from Irvin as the 09 gets spun in the background. Then they all tangle. The 21 goes around, and then watch Munsell. He comes down across the racetrack right here, gets tagged and just turned over by the 5 and rolls.
I think tag is putting that a little too lightly. He got absolutely T-boned.
Right here at the end. Here's the run to the checkers again. As the 3 came home, and Ryan Hartz will celebrate. 19 went around off the nose of the 7, but Ryan Hartz victorious here at Talladega, celebrating with the 28. They get it done here at Talladega Superspeedway. Here's a look at your race results. Brad Slaughter Jr., Swan, Anna Sogak, Scioli, Hallman, Hearn, Martin, and Matthew Cochran. Now the 21 finished 21st, Finian. He was 5 points away. The 18 of Fambro, though, is out of the race, so I think he might still scrape through.
I was going to say he should be good because no one else that would be able to catch him on points was still running there at the end. So he should be good, and I think he knew that he was in a decent spot where he could just basically go for it. For him, it was basically just making sure that Martin or Hallman didn't win, and he definitely accomplished that.
Team burnout there for the 3 and the 28. Celebrating, but third place finisher Brad. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say also, Hartz, remember, won at Daytona, and who pushed him to the victory is the 28.
Well, it worked out well for them, didn't it? And who picked Ryan Hartz to win?
I don't know. I think Hunter picked.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look at me. I'm smart. All right. Let's talk to our race finishers. We've got Brad Slaughter, who is our third place driver here tonight, and after outlasting a little bit of 4-wide racing there at the end, Brad Slaughter Jr. brings the 8 Lumar truck home in third. Brad, just getting a race finished at Talladega is a challenge. Take us through your race tonight, finishing P3.
Yeah, we didn't really have a whole lot of a strategy, to be honest with you. We were just, again, trying to run it backwards and have enough gas to get to the end. And if we ended up out of the pack, that was all right, if there was a yellow or whatever. But everybody was kind of on the same deal tonight. So just riding around, trying to be in position. That's what I tell the guys every time we come here, is just to put ourselves in position to win one of these things at the end. And that's really all you can ask for. And then at the end there, just it's kind of kind of a crapshoot. You just got to get lucky, and I kind of forced my way up there going into the tri-oval, and I was actually trying to get behind my teammate James, but I ended up underneath him, put us 4 wide, and I ended up being the first car on the outside there, and just tried to make of it what I could there. The JBR cars were hooked up on the bottom, and they weren't going to come apart. So really, I mean, not a whole lot more I could have done. We just probably needed to be in a little bit better position before that last restart.
Well, you're going to be in the show, and you're in the playoffs. So next week, IRP. Goals for the playoffs and the championship. You think you can get up there?
Yeah, this is going to be my first season. Not going in this was the regular season champion without the bonus points and everything, and no wins, no bonus points for those either. So it's going to be a fight, and I'm going to have to definitely saddle up and put on some good performances. There's not going to be any mulligans or anything like that this season. So going to have to get the practice going on and get my butt in gear and make a run at it.
IRP next week, Brad. Congratulations. P3 at Talladega. We'll see you there.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to bring Ryan and Travis in together because they work together just like they did back at Daytona. Let's start with you, Travis, pushing the 3-truck to victory lane. You guys worked together well all night long. Take us through your perspective there of the entire race and then that last run up to the checkers.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it was an awesome race there. That was the most fun I've ever had on a super speedway, even better than the Area 500 win that I had earlier this year. But, yep, try to find my teammates and work with them like I did with Ryan tonight. And same thing as Daytona, 1-2 for both of us. And that was awesome.
Well, got yourself into second place, pushing the number 3. Ryan Hartz, you get it done here at Talladega with help from your teammate. And, man, that was a well-timed run there at the tail end of the race to keep everybody behind you. But really, that race is probably won on the prior restart, getting yourself in position and having control of that final restart.
Yeah, I'm still in shock, really. That worked out perfectly. And it's just like Daytona when the season started. Me and Travis and all of the team at JBR just worked together, dominated the first half of the race. And we fell back a little bit, and then at the end we got yellows and we just surged ahead. That's exactly what happened tonight. And thank you so much to Travis. That meant a lot that he said, yeah, I'm just gonna push you. And luckily got the win, 2 in a row for the Talladega race late in the season, same as last season. So yeah, I can't believe it. I can't believe we actually got it done.
Well, you got it done, and both you guys are going to be in the playoffs. So, Travis and for Ryan, we'll start with Travis, though. Goals for the playoffs. You guys think you can get the championship?
For me to get in the championship because last year I got knocked down the round of 8. I'm sure Ryan wants to defend his title championship, and I'm coming for him this year, even though he's my teammate.
And Ryan, goals for the season again. I imagine to follow up what you did last time around, but you're kicking things off right with a win heading into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's definitely my goal is to defend this title. Yes, Travis, I know you're coming after me this season, but like I said last season, right after this exact Talladega race, it's go time now. It's go time. I can't just. I'm just gonna do nonstop practice and get ready for these playoffs. It's just starting the next week at Lucas Oil, so I believe we have a really, really good chance at being a 2-time. There's a lot of tough guys in this season, though. So, me and Travis are going to work together. I believe we're the only JBR cars in the playoffs, so we're going to work together and go from there. And hopefully, one of us can come on top. But I'm not going to give it to him.
It's going to be a fun battle to watch. Ryan, Travis, congratulations on your team victory tonight. We'll see you next week at IRP.
Yeah, before I go, is it okay if I can thank a few sponsors?
Go for it.
Yeah, first off, I'd like to thank Rick's Hot Sauce, Wax Electric, Lodgebox, and Collier Cutters Landscaping of Southwest Florida. Of course, everybody at JBR. That was awesome pushing Ryan to the win again at a super speedway. I get to hold that against him 2 times
really?
now. So. But, yep, that's all.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks a lot. We'll see you next week at IRP. We'll see you there.
Yep.
All right, Finian, wrapping things up here from Talladega. Always a good show, but tonight a lot of green flag racing, which is great to see. Big crash there coming to the checkers, as we probably expected with how 4 wide we were racing. But some drivers, the 21 in particular, lucked out that 11 couldn't finish that run to the front.
Oh yeah, he definitely was happy that nothing materialized there between Martin or Hallman. He was able to keep his spot and just confirm that the playoff order will basically continue as it was coming into tonight. So on paper it looked very boring, but I mean, we saw a lot of the guys that were on the outside looking in, they were looking really solid at some point. Guys like Colin and Fambro, AJ Roderick, who both had really good runs, and even Jordan Martin, you can throw in there, and Tyler Hallman, all looking good throughout the night. Fortunately, neither of them could execute, and they're all going to be walking out of here empty-handed.
That's going to do it for us tonight here from Sim TV. We'll see you Thursday for the Lodgebox Series. More Talladega, more plate racing, more cutoff racing Thursday night at 8:40 Eastern. We'll see you there. Kyle Heyer, Finney DeCuna, bringing you the action. We'll see you next time.